fast forward, bro, like, okay, so you start putting out your music, 2018, you decide pretty definitively that you're going to be an artist. Um, and now, like, was there one song or one project? Because right now you're sitting at over 1 million monthly Spotify listeners, which is pretty crazy. Like, that's impressive for an independent artist.
Thank you, man.
Um,
Shout out to the fans. They're crazy. They're the ones, running the numbers up.
but
I
was
think
there a song or a project that did it?
Sex and Drugs, I think, was like the pivoting point for where my career sits right now. Because that brought in most of the people that were, outliers or not, or like on the fence about my music or didn't know who I was. That gathered a lot of people who had no clue who I was. Um, that song and the rest of that album, Marbled, were, really crucial to, they were the biggest launching pad I've had so far. And, you know, that's what I try to do every single time I release a project is build myself a launching pad to grab the ears of those who, are not, or like don't even, might not even know who I am. And I think Marbled was great for that because we talked about this, right? Like the pop aspect of it, you know, there's some rap songs on there. There's some songs where I rap on there more so, but it's a pop album.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that's where I succeeded in grabbing everyone's ears is because I got people who are on the fence about hip hop in general. And then I have people who like hip hop who already like hip hop.
Mhm.
So I think when you blend genres or, you open your, and, I wasn't trying to do any of this on purpose. I just like those types of music.
Mhm.
And it just so happened and that's the way it turned out. And so when you blend genres or I think I was breaking more boundaries with that album than I ever had before at that point. And I was trying out new things and like taking massive risks. Um, there's a couple songs on there that aren't even like that have nothing to do with hip hop. They're just like rock songs, on that album. And those are some of people's favorite songs.
Mm.
I think taking those risks really, really paid off because what did I have to lose at that point?
Right. Right.
Like, you can't be sitting at 100,000 monthly listeners so concerned with your self-image and the way you appear to other people that you're not able to take a risk or like break out of your own limits for your own, authenticity or, integrity or whatever. Have
Right.
fun, make music that makes you happy and just drop it.
Did you expect that song or that album to do as well as it did?
No.
So it was completely just you were making the shit that you wanted to make and it just took off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, it's really just I was making the shit. And that's not to say that's not me saying go ahead and make whatever you want to make and it'll work because a lot of the time it won't. It's like timing and like, the way you execute it, the people that listen to it, when you release it, how you release it, all that sort of shit, every single factors into it. But I think that the start of a career that is worth continuing is making stuff that you want to make.
Hmm. I agree 100%. And I think it's interesting that you said um, that you kind of stepped outside of your comfort zone and tried different things and experimented and it paid off because I think a lot of times, especially now, right, especially in hip hop, we see it. We hear a lot of the same type of stuff because I think people have the impression that if they make something that's riding the wave of what's already popular, then they'll automatically by default become popular too. But it's usually the opposite of that, like trying different things and, stepping outside of your comfort zone and not doing what's popular. Uh, but still, it has to be authentic,
Yeah.
right?
Like you don't want to like try to fake be different at the
Right.
same. It's complicated because like, you know, you tell people to be yourself and like be different, but at the same time, I don't want you to be like, I'm not telling people to go like, man, like, you know, don't use any trap beats, or like, don't use any auto tune, or like any of that sort of shit. You know, like, do what you think is most authentic to you. And if you're having trouble finding out who you are, or, you know, where you sit musically, that's what everyone's dealing with. And that's just some shit that takes time.
Mm.
You know, if you come right out the gate with like one of the most authentic, you know, popular, amazing like sounds that no one's ever heard of, then like props to you. You're like Kendrick Lamar or some shit. But
Right.
people go through that phase where they're, you know, trying to find where they sit musically.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you did on that album, like prior to making that album, or in the process, I guess, of making that album, were you still discovering your voice as an artist?
Yeah, and I think I'm still doing it. You
Yeah.
know, uh, and there's probably categories that you could put me in that, um, you know, would make more sense to people, where it'd be like, oh yeah, he makes, you know, alt hip hop, or he makes indie hip hop or whatever. But I think the best practice is to try to break those boundaries each time, and, you know, try to make what you feel at the time, instead of trying to keep up with what people like that you released, or what you think people are going to like when you release. And just more, you know, what is you. I think that'll literally keep changing, and you'll keep redefining yourself with every release.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever's not down for the growth as a fan, it's okay. You know,
Right.
they can listen to the stuff you released before.
Right.
Not a
Right.